Arthur is still alive, but is his reappearance enough to stop the vampire hordes and aid Liesel in her escape? We're going to talk about it in our review of Van Helsing Vampire Hunter number 3 from Zenescope. See you in 3. And welcome back to Comical Opinions. This is our review of Van Helsing Vampire Hunter number 3 from Zenescope. This issue brings the adventure to a close when Liesel, Van Helsing, leads a human rebellion to stop Lucy Westenra from blotting out the sun. Before we get started, please like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the bell for notification. Your attention is greatly appreciated, and stay tuned to the end for the final score. Let's talk about the credits. This issue is written by Pat Shand, art by Julia Pellegrini, colors by Robbie Bavard, letters by Taylor Esposito, and the main cover, cover A, is drawn by Gibo Vigante. Previously in issue number 2, we got the big shock when we learned that the town had been trapped and enslaved by Lucy Westenra, who is Dracula's main lieutenant and one of the more powerful vampires on Earth, and that the vampires in this underground city are building some kind of super weapon. Liesel was captured. All of her friends, she thought, were dead, and she's pretty much left to her own devices, unable to escape, unable to overcome whatever Lucy Westenra has planned. And then we have this big specter of a Doomsday weapon of some sort that we don't know what it does. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, Arthur, who Liesel had thought was dead, somehow reappears with some help, and then the fight gets started. And then you turn into a big brawl between humans with their whatever weapons they can scrap together, and vampire guards, and everybody else just joining in the melee, and it's just turning into a big ball of chaos. Now, in Van Helsing Vampire Hunter number 3, the battle continues, but before we dig back into the battle, we take a quick recap, flashback to how Arthur came to still be alive. We learned that in the previous issue, when the vampires started attacking the pub and all the humans up top, Arthur managed to escape briefly, and he saw that Silas was actually a vampire in disguise, and he knew that he couldn't overtake him with all the vampires surrounding him, but he tried to escape, tried to warn somebody, and he gets cold-cocked on the back of the head and knocked out by one of the vampires. Julius, working with Lucy Westenra, wanted to keep his brother and Van Helsing and the others alive because he knew they would be great vampire hunters, or vampires, soldiers, if you will, because they had all those fighting skills, and so they were ordered to keep him alive. Arthur played possum, even though he was knocked out, but he revived, but he played possum until they can drag him into a place where he could unleash one of his vampire hunting weapons, just these sort of minigun wrist shooter that he has attached that shoots out silver bullets and stakes. And he managed to escape and he went back to the town and marshaled some forces, and then he returned. So that's how he's still alive. Now the melee is just getting underway. What we do is we find out through the conversation that the Doomsday weapon is somehow meant to block out or stop the sun, and that Lucy Westenra has been planning this for months, if not years. And then if her plan succeeds by sending off this Doomsday weapon, the vampires would be free to roam the upper surface of the earth without having to fear sunlight. The fight continues. Van Helsing is badly injured in her back, so she's of limited capacity. But Arthur manages to get all the vampires off of her, and then he's jumped by his brother Julius. But there's a rebellion plan in place where the humans have been all planning to destroy the cave and destroy the Doomsday weapon for months. Arthur says, well, I'm not going to get out of this alive. Julius has got me. He's biting my neck now. And so what does Arthur do? He sets off basically an explosive chest vest that he's got on that triggers one massive explosion, but that explosion is the signal to the other rebels elsewhere in the underground city to set off their explosions and to destroy the Doomsday device. Lucy Westenra shows up, and she's faster and more powerful than any vampire around. Liesel fights her, but through the course of the fight, Liesel manages to drag Lucy across the train tracks where the Doomsday device is rolling, cutting Lucy in half, and then she's trapped when the big bomb goes off, and Liesel escapes with the few remaining humans that she has left, but all of her friends are now dead. After a brief After a brief nightmare, if you will, Liesel wakes up and she's like sweating in a nightmare, and she's sort of in this now depressive state where she realizes that her life as a vampire hunter means that the people around her are going to die regardless of what she does. And so that's where we leave off, sort of on a somber note. What do we like about Van Helsing Vampire Hunter number 3? Lots of great emotional depth for the main character. Pat Shand does a very good job of humanizing his main protagonists and giving them complexity in their emotional depth, for giving them challenges that force them to accept that things are painful and to live with that pain, sometimes to grow and evolve past it, sometimes to kind of carry it as a burden. And that makes that character seem more grounded and fully realized and fleshed out. Shand does a great job with this. Plus, he does knock out many of the main points of the conflict with Lucy Westenra, the destruction of the Doomsday device, and bringing the story to a relatively clean, complete close. What didn't we like about Van Helsing Vampire Hunter number 3? The big point here that seemed to be the crux of this entire conflict with the vampires, and particularly with Lucy Westenra, was this Doomsday device. But you almost got no information about it. It was sort of, well, it's going to stop the sun, whatever that means. You don't know what, is it a rocket? Is it some kind of atmospheric, cloud generator that it will create permanent atmosphere and fog? We don't know. We never got any information about the Doomsday device. So the sense of the scale and the scope of what Lucy was planning sort of gets lost in the shuffle of the fight. It's dealt with, and we know that coming forward into the future, into the present day, Liesel Van Helsing obviously destroyed it and nobody had managed to bring it back. But at the same time, for something that could potentially be that big of a weapon that could have that dire consequence on the earth, you'd think there'd be a little bit more detail, a little bit more, monologuing from the villain or some kind of bragging or something. But it was just sort of, here's this big weapon and now we destroy it, and you really didn't get anything from it. So it would have been nicer, or probably would have felt a little bit more weighty and impactful if we knew more about the weapon and what Lucy was trying to do. What do we think about the art from Julia Pellegrini? Looks good. There's a lot of action. This is almost wall-to-wall action in this issue. The fight pretty much goes through the flashback and into the current brawl and explosions all the way through the end. So you get a lot of big explosive moments. You get a lot of teeth, vampire teeth biting. You get a lot of staking of vampires. You get all kinds of weapons and things going off. It's a very big, chaotic mess of a comic in the sense that it's a messy fight, but Pellegrini pulls it off. The choreography is good. There are a few spots where the character movements look a little stiff and a little posy. Not too bad, but generally speaking, solid showing from Pellegrini on the art. Final thoughts. What do we think about Van Helsing Vampire Hunter number 3 from Zenescope Entertainment? Relatively good wrap up to the 3-part series. You gain a new appreciation for the struggles and the pain that Liesel Van Helsing has gone through. The conflict was pretty impressive in scope as far as a big melee brawl. And even though we didn't get as much as we wanted to out of the description and understanding of the Doomsday weapon, you get the sense that Liesel really put a stop to what could have been a world-ending event. Therefore, we're going to give Van Helsing Vampire Hunter number 3 from Zenescope a solid 8.5 out of 10. What do you think about Zenescope comics? Do you like the horror aspects? Do you like the fantasy aspects? Do you like vampire-related comics in general, or something else? Let us know in the comments section. Otherwise, thank you very much for joining, and please stay tuned through the outro for our next review.